Adobe's just dropped the January 2026 update to Photoshop, which has got some great new features. Right now we're going to quickly look at these new features, get you up to speed fast. And in the coming weeks we'll jump into some of these features in a deeper dive. Every time there's a new update, I get comments from people who say they can't see the update. Let me show you how. Go to the Creative Cloud desktop app. That's at the top on Mac and it's at the bottom on Windows. You'll see updates, but don't choose these updates yet. What you want to do is go up to the top. We're going to choose Check for Updates. This pings the server and brings back the latest updates. This is usually the reason people don't see their updates, is because they were just looking at the ones that were cached instead of checking for the newest ones. Then you're going to see Photoshop, and next to it you'll see Update. Now I don't have it here because I already updated it and I'm running it right now. And this is Photoshop Release 27.3.0. Let's take a look at the new features. Number one, there are 2 new adjustment layers with 3 new adjustments. These adjustment layers all made their way from Lightroom and Camera Raw. There's several advantages to having these right in Photoshop. The first new adjustment layer, we've already done a more in-depth tutorial on when it was in beta and has clarity in Dehaze. Okay, here's a fun image I did from the Bash at Max one year. Notice we've got all these overlays that I created on the top. I don't want to affect those, I just want to affect the image underneath. So what we can do is we can go into the layers, select the layer that we want the adjustments to appear underneath, then go to the adjustment layer, and now you'll see clarity and dehaze. So maybe I want to give it a little pop of clarity here. Notice it's not affecting any of the elements on the other layers. But now that I've given this clarity, I still want a little bit of atmosphere. So I'm actually going to take the dehaze and move it to the left to add a little bit, because we've got the smoke at the concert. We want a little bit of haze in there. Generally speaking, people will use dehaze the other way to cut through the glare. In this case, I want to add a little bit. And so you can clearly see the advantage in having it as an adjustment layer is just having that flexibility. The next new adjustment layer is grain. So we go under the adjustments and we're going to choose grain. So let's add a little bit of grain by changing the amount. Now I've already given this image a filmic color grade, but now we're going to give it more of a filmic look by applying this grain. So the amount will choose how much grain we get. We can change the size of the grain. This would be like changing the ISO on the film. Let's go for a more grainy look. And then the roughness. We can go smoother to the left, or we go to the right. It can really get quite rough and grainy. Now there's a lot of advantages in having this as an adjustment layer. One of them is the flexibility. We can turn it on and off whenever we want. The other one is being able to go through blend modes. So say we want to hide all the white grain and just show the dark grain, we can choose darken. Or if we want to go the other way, we want to show the light grain and hide the dark grain, we can choose lighten blending mode. And of course, we can experiment with all different types of blending modes for different looks. The other advantage is once we've got it set, we can adjust our opacity and just dial in the exact amount of grain we want visually on screen. Another area this can come in use is if you're doing composites and the grain doesn't match in the different layers, you can add this to get a better match. There's some new AI features inside of Firefly. Particularly, there's a new Firefly model called Firefly Fill and Expand model. This previously was in beta and now it's in the main shipping build. Nothing I'm showing here today is in beta. I'm just going to make a copy of this image so we can make a comparison. So let's just choose Image, Duplicate. Now we have 2 identical versions of this image. Let's extend this off a little bit. This is a turtle that I shot on one of my Hawaii trips. So let's grab the crop tool. And then with the crop tool, we're going to change the fill to Generative Expand. I'm going to drag out to here. Now this is going to use the Firefly 3 model, which is the previous model. And I'm just going to hit the check mark to expand this image. Okay, here is a scenario we're all used to. Notice that this grain does not match very well, particularly if I zoom in. Notice here on the left, we've got this nice fine grain. On the right, we don't. In fact, if we zoom in, you can see the seam right there. Look at that. And this is because of resolution. Up till now, Firefly only used 1K resolution for extensions and filling. Let's go to the same image. And I'm just going to drag it over and let's drag it out exactly the same amount. This time, before we apply it, we're going to go to the new Firefly model, which is Firefly Fill and Expand. Then we're going to choose Generate. Now, if we look at this, this matches much better. In fact, let's zoom in. And I can see the join is here, but notice how less visible that is. And bear in mind, we're looking at this at 256%. If we take this back to 100%, you can't see the difference at all. And that's because of resolution. In most cases, the new Firefly model is now generating up to 2K, so it's double the resolution. Yes, we still want more, but this is a great start. And if we look at this, we can visibly see the scene. This is on the old Model 3. You can see how much larger the grain is here and the texture on the sand compared to the left side of the image. On here, matches much, much better. According to Adobe, this new Firefly model, the Firefly Fill Expand model, it has better edges, higher resolution, and better people generation. Let's have a look at this tiger. Why don't we put it in a different background? I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. We're going to choose Select Subject, which is going to select the tiger. Let's inverse that selection, so everything except for the tiger is selected. And we can do that by clicking here in the contextual taskbar. So now we've just selected the background. And we're going to change it. Let's put it in a swimming pool. So we're going to choose Generative Fill. And let's choose the old model first. And then we're going to type in here, put in swimming pool. And then we're going to click Generate. And here we can see the result. Let's look at some of the different variations. Okay, before we dig in closer, let's try the same thing again, but with the new model. So let's just hide that background. And we'll start again. Select Subject. We'll just select the background by inversing it. We're going to choose Generative Fill. We'll use the same prompts, but this time we're going to change the model to the Firefly Fill and Expand model. So let's click on there. Notice that that's selected. And then we're going to choose Generate. And then if we look at the generations, there's our first one, second one, third one. Okay, that one looks like more like it's in the pool. But let's take a closer examination. If we look at the old model, notice the quality and the resolution of the background's not as good. But another thing, notice the edges. Some of these edges are not looking very good. And these are things that we've been used to. But when we look at the new one, look at this. So now we can see better quality backgrounds, better generation, but look at the edges, much better. In fact, if we look at this one, look how it even just blends it beautifully into that background. And let's have a look at the masks that were created. If I hit the Alt and Option key, here's the old mask. It's got that soft, blurry edge, whereas the newer model here has a sharper edge. It's not fully sharp, but as you can see, it's definitely crisper here. And the next new feature we want to look at is reference image. So here's a thumbnail that I generated. You may recognize this. This is me, but it doesn't look a ton like me. But if I want to actually put my own face in here, or my real face in here, what I can do is I can make a selection over that area. Let's grab the rectangular marquee tool. Let's make a selection. We're going to choose Generative Fill. And we want to check the model. Make sure we're using the newest model. And then when we do, this option is going to come available. This is a reference image. So we're going to click on here. And now we can choose our reference image. Let's do that. And why don't I use this picture of myself? Notice it's loaded up in here. I'm just going to keep the default settings right now. And then we're just going to choose Generate. And if we look here, we can see the different variations. And as you can see, that looks a lot more like me. In the future, we'll dive deeper into some of these new features. In fact, let me know in the comments which features you'd like to see me do a more detailed tutorial on. And if you want a deeper dive into clarity in Dehaze, I've already made a tutorial on that where I show you how to use it, along with a quick explanation of the difference between clarity, dehaze, and unsharp mask. If you want it, check out the video right here. And if you're new, welcome to the cafe. Great to have you here. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my future tutorials. And until next time, I'll see you at the cafe.